What's up, everybody? Emery Hunt the Czar, the playbook here at the 2019 NFL Scouting Combine. Day one, coaches and GMs were speaking today at the podium. So here's some of the sights, some of the sounds, and a lot of what they said today. Here within the division, does that make the evaluation process a little bit easier for you as you transition into this role?
I think it's helpful. It's helpful. It's probably easier for me looking at the defense. I mean, I've been looking at defense for 3 years, and now it's more of trying to get caught up with the offense, which that makes it a little bit easier for me. You know, just knowing the players on the other side, how tough every game that we played them was. I don't think there was ever a time where I felt great going into a game of, hey, we're gonna be able to do whatever we want. We always were challenged by this group on defense. I know it was tough to run the ball. Some of our numbers looked better than what it was. You know, a lot of our rushing stats came at the end of the game where we hit a couple big plays. But for the most part, it was always a challenge, you know, whether it would be passing the ball or running the ball.
Adam. Leonard Williams, what are your impressions?
Our process with our roster, kind of going through it in detail, position prototype, you know, discussions with the coaching staff, just kind of how Greg's built his defense in the past, kind of what we've done on offense, kind of players that we're looking for, who fits, who are we kind of still in the gray area with, and then really after that, just free agency-wise, where do we go from there?
Adam, could you walk us through your thought process in Greg's with sticking with 3-4 as your base and all that?
I mean, that's the beauty part about hiring a guy that's been around for a long time. He's done multiple things over his career. You know, he's been both in the 3-4, 4-3. I mean, the majority of snaps are nickel defense anyways. You know, but, you know, sticking with that, our base being a 3-4 defense, and the reasoning behind that of trying to keep as many of the players that are currently here that understand that style of defense is key for us, to where now we're not completely starting over. We can keep a lot of the guys we already have.
Adam, looking back at your time in Miami, what went right?
Oh, we didn't win enough games. I appreciate you bringing this up right away.
I'll wait a little bit.
We didn't win enough games. I think there was a lot of good stuff. We had some opportunities at the end of the season the last 2 years, and we didn't win a game after we beat New England both those years. So, you know, that probably didn't help us. You know, didn't take advantage of the opportunities we had.
Adam, when you were let go, Steve Ross said one of the reasons why was wanted to win. You heard those comments that you were too on board with winning at the moment. How did you digest those words?
I don't know. I didn't read it. I didn't see or read anything, so I kind of had other things I had to worry about.
Was that a point of contention at the time that they were going to finish this year, and you were right with them?
I don't know all the details of that. We didn't have that kind of conversation. I mean, we had a good talk after kind of our original conversation. We talked for probably 20 minutes. It was a good conversation, and then I had to go to that team meeting and tell the guys kind of where it was going from there.
Since we haven't had a chance to talk to you since you put together your staff, could you just, because you hadn't had it back?
I've had a little bit of background just knowing him over since 2009. You know, it's kind of worked out the right way. His name had been brought up to me quite a few times when I was in Miami. I know after VJ left for Denver, his name was brought up quite a bit. I think I have a unique relationship to where we've known each other for a long time. We've competed against each other quite a few times, and I try to bring that up as much as possible. Not the games that he beat us in, the ones that he lost. So, but just being familiar with his system, how he does things, how he operates, and a lot of the guys that he's been with over time, I think there's a lot of lines of connection there.
And also, just to follow up on that, it became a headline when you hired Joe Ditt and Greg. Obviously, they have that background with the whole value thing and so forth. What gives you the confidence, the comfort level that you think that's behind that?
Well, Joe's the one that's recommended Greg to me multiple times, and those two guys are close, and you know, just watching those two guys work together again, I think they're both excited about that. I know Joe is. I think some of his best years were with Greg, and vice versa. So I think both those guys are excited to get back together. They speak a common language, and they're both trying to do the same thing. That's win.
Adam, do you feel like you need significant offensive upgrades in your
I think really for us, it's a third of our roster that's a pretty high number. I mean, I think this is a unique situation for a new coaching staff to where you can look at our roster and on the surface it looks like we have a good amount of needs, but really it's going to be about who are we re-signing to start, and then a lot of those needs get plugged in there, and then entering free agency in the draft. I think we're going to be able to really balance out our roster the way we want to. It's going to be about really who's available, kind of how we can put this thing together going forward. I like a lot of the players that we already have after evaluating them. I think Sam's really done a good job of getting better as the season progressed. Watching last year, and when he was injured and then came back from that, I thought he really made a jump there. And really, when you have that position to where he can make other players better, I think our wide receivers and the same. Those two guys together, they play well together. I think they got different abilities, different skill set there. So now it's about adding to that group.
Well, whenever you evaluate some of these players in offense, you said which two wide receivers do you need?
I'm talking about Robbie and Quincy.
About your evaluation of the others, what have you seen out of Chris Herman when you do his review, and also Elijah McGuire?
Yeah, I think Chris is unique. I don't think you find a lot of tight ends that are able to be on the field all 3 downs. Obviously, he's a very good receiver. He's very good in the run game, and he did a really good job of pass protection last year. He's a unicorn type player where you don't see a lot of these guys that can do all 3 phases of the game. And when you have a guy like that, now you're able to, if you need to implement a guy that's a blocking tight end or another receiving tight end, you have some flexibility there because he covers a lot of ground there. And I think he helps those other guys that are there, the receivers, to where people have to account for him, and that may dictate some different coverages. Elijah, watching him, I was very impressed. I thought, he only got to play a certain amount of games there towards the end of the year, and I think his first game was against us. We have some things that, after kind of watching that, I know there's some things that he likes to do over other run schemes, and we're going to try to emphasize what he likes to do, what he feels good about doing, and really develop that.
Coach, moving within the division, does that make the evaluation process a little bit easier for you as you transition into this role?
I think it's helpful. It's helpful. It's probably easier for me looking at the defense. I mean, I've been looking at defense for 3 years, and now it's more of trying to get caught up with the offense, which that makes it a little bit easier for me. Just knowing the players on the other side, how tough every game that we played them was. I don't think there was ever a time where I felt great going into a game of, hey, we're going to be able to do whatever we want. We always were challenged by this group on defense. I know it was tough to run the ball. Some of our numbers looked better than what it was. A lot of our rushing stats came at the end of the game where we hit a couple big plays. But for the most part, it was always a challenge, whether it would be passing the ball or running the ball.
Adam, Leonard Williams, what are your